Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to the Pet Show. Does your corgi have you a bit confused? Is your favorite feline acting too ferocious? Are your retrievers a little too rambunctious? Well, if you love your dogs, and I know you do, and adore your cats, and really want to understand them almost as well as they understand you, if you really want to get inside your dog or cat's head and figure out why they behave the way they do, can be confusing sometimes, stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for the Pet Show. America and Canada's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle. So hop up on my couch, bring those furry little buddies with you, folks. It is that time, once again, that you've all been waiting for the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively love, adore, and as I stress every single week, for almost 50 years, respect pets as much as you do. By the way, if you have questions or comments about your dog or cat's behavior, just want to share a great story, brag a little bit, talk about this amazing dog or cat you rescued, let me give you a couple of ways to do it. Number one, you can always give me a call. And if the phones are busy, leave a message and I'll answer it on the show. That phone number is 877-725-8255. Or you can send me an email and we'll probably try to answer it either in person. I'll get on the computer with you. Chances are I'll try to answer it on the Pet Show next week. And you can always ask me a question just by going to thepetshow.com and Ask Warren. It's right on the front page. Click on Ask Warren. Send me a question and we'll try to resolve the issues you may be having. Again, that's thepetshow.com. So if you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, that's what we do here on the show. Whether it be jumping, digging, not housebroken, your cat scratched your favorite chair, your dog's humping everything in sight, doesn't come back when you call him, your cats are fighting like the Armageddon, cat's not using the litter box. You get the idea, right? That's what this show's all about. We all love our dogs. We all adore our cats, but we want to make sure we understand them a lot better. And very often, behavioral issues that people have with their dogs are misunderstood, and people try all kinds of ridiculous, some even abusive ways to resolve it. Not here on the Pet Show. We do not use any type of adversive behavior at all. It's all positive. It's all upbeat. So at the end of the day, your dog may not be perfect as some of the dogs I trained overseas, but you'll enjoy them and they'll enjoy their life. Who wants a perfect dog anyway? I want my dogs to look up at me and say, hey, Warren, you're talking to me every once in a while. Sure, I want them to listen, but I don't want it to be little robots. Challenge is good. Challenge is good. It really is. Anyway, if you have questions or comments, again, you can always leave them. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show today. We have a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, so I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. One's kind of interesting. I hope we get to it, Phil. A lady called me from Maui, and I'll get to it later on. And she's upset because her daughter wants her to call her dog grandma, and this really bothers her. Boy, I wish those were the biggest problems in my life. It's interesting, though. But that would be an interesting topic to talk about. Do you get upset if someone says, this is my kid, and it turns out to be a dog or cat, or this is my granddog or grandcat? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, hopefully, when the call comes in. But let me tell you what I have planned for today's show. I always have a lot of stuff planned for today's show, but you never know. Sometimes I get to it all, sometimes I don't. But we'll have a lot of topics. So here we go. I've talked about this before. I've done TV segments, national TV segments, international TV segments about this as well. But for some reason, some people just don't get it. Does your dog literally think his name is No? Because he hears it so often, dog owners are tempted to use the no word every time the dog is behaving badly. How to avoid the no trap and why it's so important for your dog to hear yes more than no. I mean that seriously. I've gone into homes and said the word no when the dog comes thinking that's his name. No, 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 don't do this. No, don't do that. No, don't do this. What a life for a dog. So if your dog thinks his name is No, you're going to want to stay tuned. We're going to tell you what that's all about and what you can do because yes is a lot nicer than the word no. Also coming up on the show, I bet you a week has not gone by in the last, 30, 40 years where I didn't have to answer a question about a dog and separation anxiety or a dog and abandonment issues. But today it's a little different. On the show, as I said, we heard the word separation anxiety often when it comes to our dogs. But what about cats? Shame on us. Separation anxiety is not just a dog thing. Coming up, cats. Cats, that's your cats. And how separation anxiety can affect their behavior. A lot of people assume cats just take care of themselves. They don't worry when we're gone. They don't feel separation. Well, we're going to talk about that coming up. Also, I get this question a lot. It's an embarrassing question to some people, but there's a real reason behind it. Yeah, here we go. Hey, Warren. Everyone starts off with, hey, Warren. Why is my dog attracted to toilet water? Ooh, how disgusting. There's plenty of other places for him to get water in the house, but for some reason, my dog prefers drinking out of the toilet. Warren, why? What is that all about? Doesn't he realize it's dirty, filthy water? We'll talk about that coming up. As always, plenty of time for your question, comments. So if your dog is jumping or humping or your cat woke you up at 3 a.m., peed on your favorite rug, your dog's chewing, barking, digging, they're suffering with separation anxiety, maybe they're depressed, litter box issues, dog chewed up your cell phone, I'm here to help you cope with your dogs and your cats, and more likely, help your pets cope with you. So give me a call or shoot me an email. Again, the phone number, you can always leave a message here, and we'll get to answer it on the show next week. You'll hear me do that today. You can call and leave that anytime, 24/7, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. And in terms of emails, you can send me an email, and I try to answer as many as I can. Just go to the website, thepetshow.com. Remember, the is part of it, thepetshow.com. When you go to the front page, you'll see Ask Warren. Click on that. Send me your question. I'll try to answer as many as I possibly can. So I was thinking about the question of the day before we get into topics. What would be a good question of the day? I live in Arizona now, where it's going to be 100 degrees by the end of the week, by the way. And we don't do daylight savings time. However, for my entire life, I either lived in New York, I know I don't have an accent, or in Santa Monica, California, where they both do daylight savings time. And I've noticed over the years that there's a change in sometimes our pets' behavior when the hours change. So I have to toss this out at you guys. Do you believe your dog or your cat may in fact be aware of the changes? Maybe you're sleeping an hour later. Maybe you're feeding them an hour later or an hour earlier. Walking them earlier, walking them later. Do you think your dogs and cats have a concept that something's changed in the house? And that change primarily is the hours. Phone number 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break, then we'll get back to some of our topics and maybe some of our questions as well. What a great question coming up, by the way. Why dogs act like they're always hungry. We'll take a look at that. But right. If you're not smiling, I don't know why. We are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. So, I told you this week I was inundated with emails and questions that people are not getting answered anywhere else except, of course, on the Pet Show. So this phone call came into me. He left a message for me, and I'm going to give you that number again, 877-725-8255. You can leave a message 24/7. I'll try to answer it on the following week's show like I'm going to do right now. So let's go to my friend Bob, calling from the great state of Delaware. Hey, Bob.
I have a 1.5-year-old dog that the mother is a Boston Terrier and the father was a Australian cattle dog. And it don't seem to matter how much I feed it, it always acts like it's starving. You got any ideas? This is Bob from Seaford, Delaware. Thank you.
Hey, Bob, thank you for your call. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. In fact, I wrote down a bunch of ideas I wanted to share with everyone. First of all, of course, you want to have the dog make sure there's no tapeworm or anything. But dogs always act like they're hungry. It's kind of normal behavior, and it's very common. Some dogs are simply food motivated. However, there are medical reasons as well you should consider. There's something called polyphagia. What the hell is polyphagia? It's a medical condition, an actual medical condition where a dog's appetite is abnormally high. Not that common, but something to talk to your vet about. Thyroid, hormonal problems, hyperthyroidism, Cushing's disease are all things that can cause your dog to be excessively hungry. Diabetes, for example. Dogs may feel hungry because their body can't use nutrients properly. Intestinal parasites, as I said, digestive disorders, low quality food that doesn't keep them full, even some medications like steroids and prednisone can dramatically increase their appetite. I remember being on prednisone a couple of years ago and I was eating wood. So here are some of the behavioral causes. Okay, those are the medical causes, which are kind of rare, but something to run by your vet. But Bob in Delaware, here's some of the behavioral reasons I put together for you because I deal with this pretty regularly. Number one, it could be emotional, it could be environmental. If it's boredom, you have an incredible breed of dog, quite a combination of dogs there. So it could be boredom, increase the mental stimulation as much as you can. Could be anxiety. If you notice that the dog is anxiously eating, excitedly, just like crazed eating, that could be part of it. You didn't say whether or not there were other dogs in the household, but sometimes it could be competition with other pets. Or maybe you reinforce the begging. They beg, they get food, they beg more, they get more food. You can't reinforce it that way. But here's some things you can do. Number one, try feeding a high quality, high fiber diet. Use some of those new slow feeder bowls that are on the market so the dog has to eat slower. I do this with my dog, at least one of my dogs, Molly, who loves food. I add veggies like green beans, a little bit of pumpkin for fullness. As I said, increase the mental stimulation and stick to a strict feeding schedule. Make sure everyone in the household is on the same page and they understand the concept of when to feed and when not to feed. So, Bob, it's not abnormal for a dog to be constantly hungry. Sometimes when I'm bored, I eat more than I should be eating. Hello, yodels. But again, it's something that you speak to your vet. If there's no medical reasons, and chances are there's no medical reasons, follow the advice I gave you. And I think it's going to make a big difference. And the dog will be a whole lot healthier for it because, I think like 50 or 60% of dogs in this country are considered obese or overweight. But you didn't mention the dog's weight here. You just mentioned overeating. So if he's overeating so much and he's always hungry and he doesn't seem to have gained a lot of weight, I would check with the vet. Things like diabetes and other issues that may call it. Thyroidism. I've worked with dogs and people have called me. I said, check with the vet. Came back with a thyroid test. The thyroid was changed to medication. The appetite decreased. So these are things you should take into consideration. Also, one of the things that's often recommended, Bob, is that people generally feed their dog more frequently throughout the day, but just smaller amounts of food. That may pay as well. You don't want to give the dog too much food at one time. So smaller feedings more frequently is one of the ways to go. Great call, by the way. I bet you there's 50 to 60% of my listeners out there that have dogs that are constantly looking for food. Now, what I did with my Molly is different. I cut her off a lot of her treats, and I convinced her, I have her totally convinced, that carrots are made of liver, and that blueberries are made of steak. So I convinced them otherwise. So you got to play with it a little bit, but you got to understand, go through the medical first. If the medical doesn't work, try some of the methods that I have recommended. A lot of calls coming up. We got a call coming up with someone who has a dog. Anybody else have a dog like this that is constantly licking, but not himself, licking people, their hands, their arm. People come into the house, they're soaking wet from the dog licking. We'll tackle that question as well. And also coming up, why do dogs drink out of? Let me hit that right now. I get this all the time. It's disgusting. I want my dog to kiss me. I want to kiss my dog, but he drinks out of the toilet. Well, here's a couple of reasons. It's colder and fresher than any water in any water dish in your house. If your pet's water bowl is lukewarm or stagnant, the toilet water may appear as an enticing option that's cooler and fresher. By the way, porcelain keeps things cooler than any other item in the house. So the water's cooler in the toilet as well. The bathroom is a safe place to drink. The bathroom can be an unexpectedly appealing place for a pet to enjoy a drink or water due to the solitude it offers. People aren't walking around. People aren't listening. There's not a lot of noise. It's a comfort zone. Also, reinforcement. Seeing your pet drink from the toilet can be frustrating. So what do? We talked about this earlier. No them or physically remove them. They love getting your attention, even if it's negative attention, so that could be part of it as well. Also, if they're not feeling well, if you notice your pet seeking out unusual water sources like the toilet bowl, it could be a sign of underlying health issues. Excessive thirst in cats and dogs can be confused with medical conditions, so check it out. But generally, the reason they drink out of the toilet, it's quiet, it's peaceful. Everyone likes to go to use the toilet, right? Not to drink out of it, but to hang out in. And also, remember this, the water in the porcelain tank is the coolest water you have in your house. Phone number 877-725-8255, or drop me a question at thepetshow.com. Ask Warren. Speaking of that, I'm Warren Eckstein, and this is The Pet Show. Lots of emails came in, so if you want to be part of them and get me to answer your question either in person, when I say in person, online, or most of the time I'll answer them the following week here, just go to the website, thepetshow.com. By the way, enjoy the website. There's lots of great free info there. And if you're not following me on YouTube, there's probably 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. Go there, subscribe. It's free. Even this show, you can hear it on YouTube later on Saturday. Anyway, basically, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'm telling you, that's the best way to follow me, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Now, you notice that my background is really strong in behavior, having worked with Schutzhund and ring sport and Polizei hunt and so many other dogs in Europe and advanced training for forces. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you because it came up in a conversation. If you're trying to teach something new and your dog just doesn't get it, he's confused, people try to force it. Trainers say, well, keep going, keep going. Well, I don't say that. I take the opposite point of view. Hear me out. Stop the lesson right then and there. If he's not getting it, stop the lesson and end the lesson with something he does really well, something he knows how to do, and then reward him lavishly. Training sessions should be fun for him with praise, even treats. A short playtime at the end also helps let off some of that steam he's built up and helps you bond with your dog. So if the bottom line is, if your dog is having difficulty, let's say he knows how to sit and he knows how to stay, he knows how to come, but he's having a tough time lying down, which, by the way, can be a difficult thing to teach certain dogs. It puts them kind of in a submissive posture. If you're trying to teach your dog something and he's really bright, he's gotten everything in the past, but he's just a little confused about this new one, then perhaps what I would recommend is stop, go back to something he does really well, give him a lot of praise, go and have a glass of wine for yourself and come back at it a little bit later in the day. So I got an interesting phone call this week. Let me see if I can find it here. It came in from Maui. So why don't we just play the phone call? This call came in, she didn't leave a name, but the call came in from Maui, and I'll respond to it.
My question is that my daughter has a cat, which is wonderful, but she calls the cat my grandchild, and I'm telling her it's still a cat. It's not blood related, but it's nice that people, especially my daughter, has an animal and she loves her so much. But how do I guide her to realize that that is not a child? Maybe a child to her. I don't know. It's not really a pet misbehavior. It's a reasoning thought to how to respond to my daughter about her cat, knowing it's a cat. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Well, let me say something right off the bat. This is a grandma problem. Has nothing to do with your daughter. Has nothing to do with your cat. To people that have pets in their family, for a lot of people, almost the majority of people, those pets are part of the family. I call my dogs my kids. So many people call them kids. When my mother was alive, she should rest in peace, she would be the grandma. My dogs have aunts. My dogs have uncles. And I don't know why it would bother you that much if it makes your daughter happy for you to call her cat, or for her to call you the grandmother of a cat. Yeah, it's a cat, but it's part of her family. And I think it's perfectly fine for your daughter to ask you. If you don't want to admit it, that's fine. I can't change your mind. But I honestly, correct me, people out there, send me an email if you think I'm wrong. But if your daughter, if it makes your daughter feel good, and everything's perfect in Maui anyway, but if it makes your daughter feel good to have her mother call her cat or be called grandmother, I say go for it. If you had any idea how many relationships, hey, that's Uncle Warren, that's how grandpa, how many relationships I have with people's pets. It's absolutely amazing. So I say life is too short. If your daughter wants you to be the cat's grandma, I say yeah. I don't understand if you don't want to use the term grandma for yourself. You don't want to say, well, I'm going over to see my daughter and I'm the grandmother of a cat. I get it. For somebody it may not be comfortable, but I say, listen, to people that have pets, they're part of I shared this before, but when I was growing up, every dog in America was Duke, Duchess, Queenie, Blackie, and Whitey. Now it's Sam, Dave, Harry, Sally. It sounds like a poker game on a Friday night. People are accepting their dogs and their cats more as part of the family rather than just a family pet. Even the names they give them are human family names. So I call my dogs my kids. My sister calls them her nieces and nephews. Just the way it is. I don't want to be wrong in this, but live with it. It's not that big a deal. There's a lot more things going on. I'd love to get your take on that. Do you think was I wrong? Am I wrong? Is she wrong? If someone wants you to call their dog whatever, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyway, some interesting, we're going to come up with this later. And this really is one of the things that bothers me the most about training is so many people fall into that no syndrome. No, don't do this. Don't jump. Don't walk. Don't pull. Don't go. Don't play with that dog. That dogs literally think their name is no. And it sounds a little joking when I say, I go into people's homes and I say no, and the dog comes. But so many dogs respond to more of the negative than the positive. We're going to take a really, really close look at that coming as well. And something that really, really bugged me. I get so many emails from people and phone calls that talk about separation anxiety in their dogs, abandonment. What about cats? Cats have emotions and feelings too. Take it from me, they do. So can cats suffer with separation anxiety? Can they really have separation anxiety? You bet they can. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So another question I'm going to toss out to you guys is, do you believe that the change of time, daylight savings time, affects your dogs and your cats? Are they getting fed later? Are they getting up later? Are they getting walked later? I'd love to hear from you guys as well. So shoot me an email at thepetshow.com, ask Warren, or leave me a message. Call 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break here. I'm Warren Eckstein, and this is The Pet Show. Always looking for the beagle. Hey, we are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. I can't believe I'm in Arizona now. It's going to be 100 degrees by the end of the week. 100 degrees by the end of the week. 90 all week long. Whew. My dogs look at me and saying, hey, can we go back to the ocean? Anyway, I want to talk about an important subject. I started teasing it, but it's really critical. I've trained literally, I don't know how many, 30, 40,000, lots of animals in my life, okay? And, sometimes 100 in a night for the YMCA. But listen to me carefully. Avoid falling into the no trap. You may not think you are, but listen to me carefully. Many dog owners, like you, are tempted to use the word no every single time their dog engages in something wrong or some kind of bad behavior. As verbal beings, which humans are, it can be really tough for us to refrain from showing our displeasure by using the word no very commonly. However, and hear me out on this, saying no to our dogs is a practice that I frown upon. And it's not because the dogs don't speak our language often. Behavior specialists discourage using the word no with kids as well. Very often what we do with our kids follows with our pets. The main reason why saying no is judged so poorly is simply because the word fails to teach children or dogs what we want them to do instead. It just simply focuses on what we don't want them to do. Don't jump, don't bark, don't do this. But it doesn't teach them what we want to do. On top of that, many trainers and behaviors in dogs that are considered bad stem from deep need for attention. If I were to tell you, and you can, I'm sure you know it yourself, if I were to tell you how many dogs would rather hear the word no, because to them it still qualifies as attention. They're getting attention, even if it's negative attention. For those that you have kids or dogs, you know that they respond to attention, whether it's negative or positive, doesn't matter. So let's get off the word no. You know, what do I do with my dogs when they do something wrong? I might say, hey, phooey, let's do this, or phooey, let's do that. I just don't like the word no, because telling your dog to do something, to stop doing something, without taking the time to teach them what they should be doing is really counterproductive. So, from me to you, let's get out of the trap of no, 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 no. And I'm not joking sometimes when I say I've gone into homes and people have responded that way. So, we're going to take a break in a little while. But let me tell you what I got coming up. I have an interesting phone call. Hey, Warren, I have 5 cats. Sammy's a 16-year-old male. Crystal's a 9-year-old female, the problem. Daisy is 14 months, Ryder 11 months, and Baby 12 months old. All are fine, but Crystal is out to kill Baby. Not a pretty sight. I tried everything. I have a door separating them. However, Crystal found out she can jump over it. Crystal is 15 pounds. Baby is 9. I fear for the baby's life. Warren, can you help? It's an interesting question. And a lot of people wouldn't tackle it. But when I got this, I decided, you know what? This would be a good, and in fact, I actually wrote it out. I actually wrote this all out because I felt it was important enough a subject. So we're going to talk about that. Again, if you want to leave me an email that I will answer on the show like I will in a few minutes, just go to the website. It's thepetshow.com, all one word. Click on Ask Warren. Enjoy the whole website while you're there. Find out about my mafia customers like Carlo Gambino. But click on Ask Warren, and when you're there, that'll go over and I'll answer those emails as well. So go to thepetshow.com, click on Ask Warren, or if you prefer leaving me a phone message, 24/7, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Quick break, then right back to Karen and her killing cats. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Okay. No doubt about it. We are back on The Pet Show. Speaking about dogs, but now we're going to speak about cats. I told you I got this email from Karen about her cats. She has a bunch of cats. They're fighting 5 cats. They're fighting like crazy, 2 of them specifically. So let me respond. And I actually wrote it down. You can absolutely, positively, no doubt about it, restore peace in a 5-cat home. But when 2 cats are fighting, the key is to separate, reset, and reintroduce with structure. Common triggers include territory disputes, especially in a home with 4 or 5 cats, resource guarding, food, litter boxes, resting spots, and redirected aggression. Maybe the cat's aggressive towards something else and taking it out on Baby. Controlled reintroduction. This is the most important part. Number 1, scent only. Do a lot of scent swapping every day. Swap beds between the 2 cats. Rub each cat with the same towel to mix scents. Feed them on opposite sides of a closed door that they can't get over. Phase 2. Use a baby gate, crack door, or screen. Feed the cats on each side so they associate each other with good things. Short, positive sessions are critical. Let them see each other briefly while distracted with toys or food. End the session before tension starts. Phase 4. Increased supervised time together. Watch for subtle signs of stress, staring, blocking, tail flicking, hiding. There are things you can use like pheromones, feel-away diffusers. Identify the pattern. Multi-cat aggression usually fits one of these: bullying, 1 cat blocks resources, mutual dislike, fear-based, or redirected aggression. This is not going to be the easiest task for you, Karen, but it's something. You're talking to someone who's had 33 cats at one time, all feral cats and all rescued. Well, there were a couple of bouts there, but I took care of it. What often happens when we try to, again, going back to what I was talking about with dogs and no, when we go back to the scenario where we're correcting all the time, and the cat's hearing, no, stop it, don't do that, don't do this, and yelling, screaming because you're nervous, you're anxious, the cats are anxious, it only creates more anxiety. That's why I put together this whole structure for you, what the common triggers are. Follow my advice. Also, in my book, How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want, I talk about this a lot, and I also covered a lot on my YouTube channel, so check out and subscribe to youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. It's never easy when you have multiple cat households, but remember, every cat should have their own litter box. Every cat should have their own feeding station, at least at this point, till we get back to norm. It will happen. It's going to take some patience on your part, but follow my instructions. Try to figure out why or when it's happening, and you can see all different. The scent swapping is really important. People will do that for a day, maybe 2 days, but then they forget about it. But actually, scent swapping can be really, really critical in getting the cats to adjust to each other. And the way to do that is swapping maybe beds a little bit. They're not going to be happy at first, or it can be done. The feel-away diffusers work really wonders. The most important thing is, when we've had cats that have not been getting along for a long time, we definitely want instant gratification. Instant gratification doesn't come with behavior. Proper guidance, like I just gave you, will make all the difference in the world. So you can have all your cats, work with Baby, work with Sammy, and eventually they will get on. I notice you said Crystal, the 9-year-old, is the problem. Already you're calling her a problem rather than figuring out what's causing the problem. The cat's not the problem. What's causing the cat to be a problem, that's what we need to resolve. So follow my advice. I'm sure it's going to work out fine for you. Coming up in the next hour, we got some great phone calls. We're going to talk about separation anxiety. It's not just for dogs. So dog people, get over yourself. Cats can suffer with separation anxiety as well. And we're going to also talk a little bit, if we have time, in terms of if your dog or cat notices that the times have changed. The times they are changing. Maybe they're getting food later, walk later. We'll talk about that as well. 877-725-8255. I'm Warren Eckstein, and yes, you are listening to The Pet Show. And if you love your dogs and adore your cats, you have found the right place. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, where we resolve any issues that you may be having with your dogs or your cats, or more likely any issues your dogs or cats may be having with you. It's not easy living with us, so great hour coming up. I got some great phone calls and some great emails, and we're going to take a look at, we often hear about separation anxiety, but primarily with dogs. Very rarely. I don't think I've ever had anyone call me with a separation problem in cats. So we're going to talk about that. Cats can have issues as well. And the phone, by the way, we've changed a little bit the way we do the show, but if you want to leave me a message, you can call this phone number 24/7. I get the messages. I'll put them together and answer them on the following week's show. That phone number is 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255, or send me an email at mail@thepetshow.com. Don't forget, I'm sorry, take that back. Send me a question at thepetshow.com. Thepetshow.com, all one word, thepetshow.com. And just when you go there, click on Ask Warren, and you'll see it. And you can send me an email there, and I'll try to answer some online. I'll try to answer some on the air as well. Speaking of emails, I received this email, and it's kind of not real common, but kind of common. Again, it starts out the same way. Hey, Warren, I love taking my dog for a walk. We go for long walks all the time. But why is my dog all of a sudden refusing to come back into the house when I want to go back inside? So, your dog gets what? 3 walks a day, maybe 4 walks a day, and you love walking. Maybe they're long walks. So why is the dog not wanting to go back in the house? I put this together for you. What about this? Fear of missing out. I had that as a child growing up, the fear of missing out. FMO. The walk is over. The fun is over. Some dogs actually refuse to come back inside because the great outdoors, along with the stimulus package, makes the indoor transition difficult for the dog. Dogs see through their nose. They know what the house smells like. It's great and you should make it interesting. But the outside is so much more interesting. Skunks, possums, raccoon, other dogs, God knows what they're smelling out there. The plants, the flowers. That's why a lot of dogs don't want to come back in. Now, I'll give you an example. I have one of my dogs, Willie. You know, I have Molly and Willie, my 2 rescue dogs. Molly goes outside, poops, pees, wants to come back into the house. Willie realizes that sometimes I'm in a hurry. So if he goes outside and he pees and poops quickly, he's coming back in the house quickly. He's outsmarted me every single time. Some dogs learn, like Willie, that refusing to come inside results in more time spent outside. Yeah, Willie, I'm talking about you. Which ultimately reinforces the refusing to come inside behavior. Some dogs learn that refusing to come inside results in, as I said, a whole lot of time outside. In these cases, we need to deeply evaluate why the dogs find the outdoors so enriching and figure out ways to compete with that. If you take your dog right after they poop, they want to sniff some more. So what do you need to do? When you take your dog out to do his business, I love the term do his business, like the dog's a lawyer. When you take your dog out to pee and poop, I'm a realist. Let them go, but give them some time out for fun. Let them enjoy. Take them for a special walk. Their nose, as I said, is their eyes. Keep the inside interesting as well. What I've done with my dogs to try to encourage them to go inside. When they come back inside, there's always something new and exciting that they find that I put down inside when I've taken them outside. So the inside is as much fun as the outside, and they kind of look forward to both. Just a little trick that I use. But it's not uncommon. The problem is dogs tend to be much smarter in some cases than the people that they live with. Yeah, I said it. And they know that if they come inside, they may be missing out on things that are taking place outside. So give them more opportunity. Give them more time spent outside. Don't force them to come inside. And if they do come inside, make it a fun retreat back inside, not a bad retreat back inside. Stuff people don't think about. That's why I love getting your emails, because you kind of provoke my head in terms of what is the average pet person really trying to figure out? What do they really, really want to know? And that's why we do that. Also, we had a call last week about a dog that was kind of having some trouble with behavior. I want to get into, if we have time today, into the difference between counter conditioning and desensitizing. We'll take a look at that if we have time. I also got a great call coming up. So many people have dogs that are constant lickers. Lick, 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 lick. And because of that, people don't want to come to the house. So we're going to talk about a call that came in from Minnesota about a 10-year-old Japanese Shin. I love the breed that constantly licks people's hands and arms. Is it showing affection, or is there something else involved? We're going to take a look at that as well. So also coming up, cats and separation anxiety. And people often ask me, in fact, I did a segment earlier on the risks of overfeeding. I weigh my dogs constantly. People often say, how do you weigh your dogs at home? I get on a scale, weigh myself, then I pick up the dog and separate the difference. Doesn't make me a genius. I just figured that out a long time ago. But listen to me carefully. Carrying extra weight isn't just a cosmetic issue. By the way, a lot of dogs that are overweight, people joke about them, and I think it affects the dog. I think the dogs get embarrassed. Look at that fat beagle. Look at that fat bass. I think dogs get embarrassed over that. But overfeeding is more than just cosmetic. It can contribute to joint and mobility problems, all different types of arthritis. That's why you see so many ads on TV now for arthritis pain relief. It can also contribute to heart and respiratory strain for your dogs, diabetes, especially in cats, liver disease, and reduced lifespan and quality of life. Even a few extra pounds can make a significant difference, particularly in small pets. So let's say the average cat weighs 10 pounds and he gains 2 pounds. And that may seem like a lot to you, 2 pounds. But considering his total weight is 10 pounds, that's a lot of his weight. So overfeeding, if you have a cat or dog that likes to eat, the best way to keep their weight is to feed them smaller amounts more frequently throughout the day, smaller amounts more frequently throughout the day. So let me do this. I want to go back to having you guys following my YouTube channel. You can hear the show on my YouTube channel. I share literally, I think there's 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. Every possible thing, and I add them all week long. I'm adding new ones here and there. So go to my YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. Go to youtube.com/my name, Warren Eckstein, Eckstein. You're going to enjoy. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of videos there. Some videos I may not want you to see, but you're going to take a look at them anyway. So check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Subscribe. It's free. I think you'll totally enjoy it. Phone number here again, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll get back to some more of your questions. And we are back on the Pet Show. Every time I hear this song, it reminds me of something I was involved with years and years ago. I've talked about it before, but a lot of you know I was the creature keeper on the Mickey Mouse Club. The new, not the original, by the way, the new Mickey Mouse Club. And my Mouseketeers were some really big name celebrities that you might know. In fact, I can't look at them now because I knew them when they were little girls. But the reason I bring that up, we shot most of the episodes in Florida at Disney World when I was the creature keeper, but I also got the opportunity to spend a lot of time in the water with the dolphins. And I got to tell you, every time I hear that, it reminds me of people talk about meditating, and I meditate. Maybe I'll put on some Enya, maybe I'll light a candle, but I'm telling you, peace, the peace that comes from being around these amazing animals. I've never felt as secure as I felt in the water, being surrounded by maybe 10 or 15 dolphins. Just an amazing time. I'll never forget it. There are some videos as well. Check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. You know, from time to time, besides answering a question, I'd like to share a lot of pet information with you. So Americans last year adopted 4.8 million dogs and cats, but the shelters took in a total of 6.5 million animals that same year. The U.S. had 1,507 kill shelters in 2023, and now 2,457. So 4.8 million dogs and cats adopted, 6.5 million animals taken into shelter. So if you're looking for a dog or cat, that's where you need to go, the local shelter or the rescue groups. That's where you'll find your best friend. And take it from me. When you adopt a dog or a cat from a shelter or a rescue, they know it. And they pay you back every single day for the rest of their lives. That I do promise you. So, let me share this with you also. This came up just this week. I got a text on the top 10 poisons for 2025 for dogs. The top 10 poisons for dogs, this reported by the Poison Foundation. Number 1, chocolate. Number 2, grapes and raisins. Listen carefully. Something called bromethylene. I don't even know what that is. Bromethylene. Xylitol, very big. Xylitol is the sweetener. It's in sugarless gum and sugarless treats. Xylitol, very dangerous for your pets. Onions, chives, leeks, shallots. Ibuprofen. Vitamin D3 overdose. Even marijuana, the THC in large levels. Acetaminophen, and a lot of the anti-collagen rodenticides, things that make the bleeding there. So anyway, that's important. This, by the way, was brought together by Renee Schmidt, Dr. Renee Schmidt, toxicologist for the veterinary medicine at the Pet Poison Helpline. Now, the top 10 poisons for cats are a little different. I want you to hear me on this one. Number 1, lilies. Number 2, onions. Number 3, chocolate. Ibuprofen. Again, lilies. Amphetamine, carprofen, grapes and raisins. Cats have different tastes than dogs, so the list of the top 10 poisons for cats is significantly different than for dogs. Different taste, things they're attracted to. But either way, make sure, and I do this all the time, before I leave the house, when people have come over, I check around to make sure there's no remnants of sugarless gum or anything like that around the house, because it could be very dangerous for your pet. So let me do this. I have a phone call, believe it or not, about housebreaking. Let's go to my friend Nancy, calling from beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hey, Nancy, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hey, Warren, this is Nancy. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale. I just got a new puppy a week ago, and he's, I guess he's going on 9 weeks now. I wondered, he's peeing on the floor, and I put him in a contained area at night, and he does use the pee pad because it's right there. But otherwise, he just goes on the floor, and I'm not sure exactly how to go about training him to go back and use the pee pad when he needs to go. So if you can help me out, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. There's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, housebreaking a puppy can be interesting. He's only 9 weeks old. What do you want him to do? Read a book? He's going to have accidents. Here's what I would do. Number one is at 9 weeks old, he should be getting fed maybe 3 or 4 times a day, smaller amounts of food. And water should be controlled as well. 15 minutes after he eats or 15 minutes after he drinks, assume that he's going to have to go out and pee or poop, or go by his pad and pee or poop. When he first wakes up, he's going to have to pee or poop, or after exercise, he's going to have to pee or poop. Confine or wash. You got the right idea. I'm not a crate person, but you can gate off an area. Cover the entire area except where his bed is, except where his water is, and his toys with the pads. He'll pick a spot in that area. Once he picks that spot, start removing the pads from the opposite end till you're down to that one pad. I'm hoping you can find him in the kitchen, because if you have a back door, the closer you move to that back door, the quicker it's going to be to make that transition to outside. But the most important thing right now is regulating the food, regulating the water, confine or watch, no in between, not giving him the opportunity to go outside. Of all the questions I get asked, housebreaking is the simplest. 4 basic steps. Number 1, confine or watch, no in between. Number 2, when you clean up where he's gone, make sure you clean up with something specifically made for dog and cat urine. Why? Because when you clean up with ammonia or Mr. Clean or any of those products in your cupboard, what you're doing is putting ammonia on the floor. And if you've ever smelled a baby's diapers, you might as well pee on the floor. You're putting down the same odor you're trying to lift up. So make sure you use a stain and odor remover for pets. Confine or wash, clean up the area properly, understand when it's most apt for the dog to want to go. When he can go outside, you can take some of the pads, put them outside, give him time not to go inside, get him to go on the pad outside. Then you can actually take a little dirt and put it on the pad inside to teach him to go outside. A lot of things you can do. I recommend you do this. Go to the website, thepetshow.com, click on housebreaking. It's all there, everything you need to. But in the meantime, it should take about 12 to 14 weeks to housebreak the dog. Confine or watch, which means it's impossible for the dog to have an accident, because you're either confining him or you're watching him. There's no in between. Check out thepetshow.com. Read the segment on housebreaking. I think it'll be helpful. Good luck with the 9-week-old puppy. Hope you're getting a lot of sleep there. 877-725-8255. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. Best song ever. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Again, if you want to shoot me an email, and you should, with a question or a comment, just go to thepetshow.com. It's all one word. I know I stress it, but I know it's difficult to grasp that. You have to put that "the" in. Thepetshow.com. When you go to the front page, you can click on Ask Warren. A form will pop up. Ask me a question there, and I'll respond as much as I can. But while you're at the website, and I don't talk about this enough, while you're at the website, there's literally lots of great tips there, lots of great articles there, lots of great information there, some great videos there. So check out thepetshow.com. If you want to ask a question, just go to Ask One. And as I said, I love getting your calls. In fact, I got a call, we'll play it in a little while, from Don in Minnesota about a dog that's licking. And we're going to take a look at that as well. But if you want to leave me a voicemail 24/7, anytime, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through to the show. So, I don't know, wherever you guys live, I told you it's going to be 100 degrees where I live by the end of the week. It's going to be in the 90s all week. And the spring is in the air. Spring starts, I think, in a couple of days. I'm not really sure. So, how do I know spring is here? Well, in my neighborhood, they've removed 2 snakes so far. I was out in my yard the other day, which, by the way, has a 7-foot fence around it, but my Molly and Willie are never in the yard unless I'm out there with them. And we're hanging out in the yard, and we're just kind of relaxing. It's hot. And Molly and Willie start barking, and on the other side of the fence, running as fast as they could, was a group of 2 coyotes. And Molly and Willie together weigh 13 pounds, chasing away. But I'm just bringing it up because it's that time of year. It's spring. The animals are coming out. The babies are around. I saw some unusual animals the other day, javelinas, which is, for those people that don't live in Arizona or New Mexico or Texas, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the coyotes are out. I had coyotes in my neighborhood in Santa Monica. The only place I never saw a coyote, and I think they're here now, is in when I lived on Long Island. I never saw a coyote when I lived on Long Island. I'm sure they were there, but I never saw one. So please be careful when you're walking your dogs, carry an air horn with you, whatever you need to. And remember, the coyotes have a right to live too. I'm going to do a whole segment on coyotes. In fact, on my YouTube channel, something you're not going to hear from anyone else, I did a coyote video on the positive points of coyotes. You know they're monogamous? Did you know that? There's a lot of good things about coyotes as well. And sometimes we have to learn to live with them. Can't just kick them away. They didn't take over our land. We took over theirs. All right. I'm going to get off my ramble now. So before we get back to questions, almost every week on the show, someone's going to call and ask me about separation anxiety in their dogs. I can't leave my dog alone. He chews things up. He goes crazy. He barks. Separation anxiety, what to do? Well, separation anxiety, folks, and not too many people will tell you this, but separation anxiety is not just a dog thing. Separation anxiety in cats is often misunderstood or ignored. It's more common than many realize. Researchers asked cat owners about behaviors they observed when their cats were left alone, and the results challenge the myth that cats are always independent and unaffected by absence. So how does a cat react when they're suffering with separation anxiety? Maybe they'll start eliminating outside of their box as a territorial. They'll destroy furniture or household. They're stressed out. They're anxious. If you notice that your cat is over grooming, sometimes leading to bald spots, that could be part of it. These behaviors are not your cats being bad or naughty. Separation anxiety in cats is very real, and it often goes on unrecognized. When I started talking to you on the Pet Show, even before that, on a show called Our Magazine and then this Today Show on Regis, when I started talking to you about behavior back then, people would never even think about asking me about cats and separation anxiety. But right now, people would ask, I would say that 75 to 80% of my questions on NBC were dog questions. Now it's 50-50 dog and cat questions. So separation anxiety, folks, it's not just a dog thing. It can take place with cats as well. So what can you do about it? Number one is increase the mental stimulation. Leave your cats for short periods. It's not real different than dog behavior, except that cats have more of a mental attitude to explore. So putting down new things like cardboard boxes and paper bags, leaving articles of your clothing around the house with your scent, unwashed articles of clothing. I do that anyway. Can make all the difference in the world. So that's something to remember. So if you're thinking that, well, it's a cat, cats, people use this term that cats are less demanding, that cats don't take as much time. And there's a little truth to that as well. But they have emotions. They have feelings. Anyone who lives with a cat. The only people that say that they don't like cats or cats aren't the best pets, dogs are so much smarter, the only people that say that are those people that have never had the opportunity to be owned by a cat. You heard me right, to be owned by a cat. Again, I want you to, and I'm pushing YouTube today because I'm sharing a lot of stuff there. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein, YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. We do a lot of work here on the Pet Show and for years privately on behavior and what behavior changes. Well, failure to address the actual cause. While in the past, most behavioral problems were thought to surface because of dogs being dominant, in reality, most behavior problems arise because dogs are anxious or fearful. Addressing the underlying fear or anxiety is key to tackling the root of behavior. Punishment as a standalone method doesn't work and should never be used. When I started talking about this concept that you need to get to the root, don't just correct, stop, yell, scream, prong. When I started talking about this, people in my profession even said, well, this guy's crazy. I'm not crazy. If you want to resolve an issue with your pet, if you want to resolve an issue with a human being, the way to resolve it properly is to get to the cause first. Not just some made-up cause, not just I want to correct the behavior. What's causing the behavior? Is my cat anxious? Is my dog jealous? Are they not getting enough attention? Is their mental stimulation lacking? Once you figure out what causes a behavioral issue with your dog, the problem becomes a whole lot easier to resolve. Take it from someone who's resolved thousands and thousands, from peeing on the floor to biting people. They can be resolved if you take the time to figure out why they're there in the first place. Again, if you want to leave me a message or a question, 24/7, 877-725-8255, or you can always shoot me a question at thepetshow.com. That's thepetshow.com. Let me do this. Let me take a quick break here, and then we'll get right back to some questions. And I got a great phone call coming in as well. My best friend doesn't walk upright. Check out the t-shirts that say none of my friends walk upright. You'll be helping the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. So go to the website, Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. You're going to love these t-shirts. Whenever I wear them, listeners wear them, they tell me the response from people is amazing. Wear one to a dog park and see the reaction that you get. As I said, I get a lot of phone calls. You can always leave a phone call, a message for me or a question for me at 877-725-8255, like my friend Don. This is a call I received from Don, calling from the great state of Minnesota. It's in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. I think it is the great state of Minnesota. Hey, Don.
Yes, my name is Donald, and I'm from Minnesota. And my pet question is, I have a 10-year-old Japanese chin that licks excessively on people's hands and arms. And I was just wondering if that's just a trait that Japanese chins do, or if he's maybe lacking something in his diet. That was my question. Thanks.
It's a great question. First of all, one of my favorite dogs. I love the Japanese chin. A lot of people don't know what they are, but they're great little dogs. It's just amazing. Here's my response. And I actually wrote it down, which one of the reasons I like taking the phone calls early, because I can go into a lot more detail. A 10-year-old Japanese chin that constantly licks people's hands and arms is usually showing affection or seeking attention. However, in senior dogs, it could also signal anxiety, nausea, pain, or even early cognitive decline. The behavior is common, but when it becomes constant, it's worth paying attention to the underlying causes. So let's take a look at them, Don. Don from the great state of Minnesota. Number one, affection and social bonding. Most common, by the way. Many small breeds of dogs, especially Japanese chins, use licking as a social gesture. They often target hands and arms because they carry familiar scents. Lots of scents on our hands and lots of scents on our arms. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only reason. Could be anxiety, could be stress. Excessive licking is strongly associated with anxiety. In fact, when a dog licks, what they're actually doing is the endorphins in their brain are making them feel more comfortable. So by licking, it's constantly actually making the dog or cat calmer. It's alleviating stress. It's alleviating anxiety. Dogs do that as well, and cats do that as well. So excessive licking could be anxiety or stress, something you need to take a look at, Don. Also, it could be the taste of the skin, salt from sweat, lotions, soaps, food residue. These are all things we use. In fact, today I think I smell a little like coconut, my shampoo. So that's another reason. Taste or scent on skin. And we eat with our hands, so there's always kind of taste there as well. Don, it can also be a learned habit. What do I mean by that? If your dog licks and people pet him or talk to him, he learns licking is going to get him attention. This actually becomes reinforced behavior over years. Now, with older dogs, you said your dog's 10 years old, not particularly old for a chin, but compulsive behavior or cognitive decline for senior dogs. So it could be a compulsive behavior with your dog, which means the dog needs different types of stimulation, or it could be cognitive decline, especially with the senior dog, though I don't consider 10 years old a senior chin. Redirect the behavior. Some people say offer a toy, a chew. However, I'm not necessarily with that school. Why? Because if the dog is licking and you give the dog a toy or a chew, doesn't he learn that if he wants a new toy or a new chew, all he has to do is lick somebody? It's like taking a toy away from, oh, I don't want to go into that, but that's basically what happened. Not a great. So, things that you can do. Increase the stimulation, reduce anxiety, and always check with your vet. Check with your vet, reduce anxiety, increase mental stimulation. I hope that helps you out there, Don, in Minnesota. Not that uncommon, but there are things you can do. You have to figure out its affection, social bonding, anxiety, stress, taste on the skin, or is the dog maybe suffering with some compulsive behavior. But anyway, if you follow my advice, the licking will calm down, I promise. And it could be other things as well. Again, the phone number here, 877-725-8255. We're going to take a break. When we come back, ever wonder why your cat stares at you? They have that stare, that look. Why are they doing it? We got that coming right. But right now, quick break, then right back to you. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back. So, your cat is staring at you, and you want to know why. If your cat stares at you, they're usually trying to communicate something, whether it's asking for attention, requesting food, inviting play, showing affection, or signaling fear or aggression as well. Here are some of the key takeaways. If your cat stares to communicate his needs, emotions, or attentions, common reasons include play, hunger, affection, fear, or aggression. Dilated pupils, ear position, tail movement, and posture can help you interpret the stare. If staring is paired with behavior changes or signs of illness, contact your veterinarian. So, cats can stare at you for many different reasons. Generally, they stare at you. I know when over the years when I've lived with cats, they would stare at me. I would react to them. I'd give them attention. I'd give them a treat. And so they learn that staring is going to get a reward. But it also could be that they're hungry. It also be that they're afraid. If they're afraid, they come and they stare at you to get the attention they associate with positivity. Dilated pupils, ear positions, position of the tail. I've talked about that. It's all over my website. Can also indicate how the cat is feeling as well. Now, we have a couple of minutes left, and I want to stress this for everybody. Many of you have been listening to The Pet Show for almost 50 years, and bless you for doing that. And we got another 50 years in me. But the most important thing to remember here is that if you have questions or you have an issue with your dog or cat, they're resolvable. I spoke to someone this week who said, well, I have a dog for a couple of years. He's not what I wanted. I'm going to turn him in and get another dog. I do not believe in revolving dog personalities. Once a dog or a cat comes into your home, here's my saying, my next t-shirt. Once it comes into my home and it kisses me and it pees, it's there for life. That I promise. Let me give you a couple of ways to get in touch with me during the week. You can always shoot me a question. Just go to my website, thepetshow.com. Enjoy the website. When you go there, you'll see a big sign, Ask Warren. Click on it. Send me your questions. I'll try to get to as many as I can on the air, or I'll try to answer some off the air as well. Or you can call me 24 hours, 7 days a week. Leave a message with your question and your name and where you're from, and I'll respond to some of them, just like I did to Don from Minnesota on today's show. That number, 24/7, 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. And again, I've been talking a lot today about YouTube. Obviously, it's a radio show, and I can go into depth on the questions as much as I can. But on my YouTube channel, it gives me the opportunity to really go into my lessons or my explanations or my resolutions for the most common issues that you, my listeners, have. It's free, so if you're not subscribing to my YouTube channel, there's no reason. Enjoy it. You'll have a lot of fun. Check out the Creature Keeper as well. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. Till next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you. One for me right between the ears. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.